Hi, my name is Stephen Pointer, and I am the Education Director here at the Holocaust Center in Maitland. I was a Holocaust educator for 14 years and primarily worked at West Orange High School. And I wanted to share with you today one of my favorite resources for teaching the Holocaust. Whether you are teaching a segment of the Holocaust or whether you are teaching a full semester, this resource is by far one of the best put together resources that not only utilizes testimony but also utilizes primary sources, first person perspectives, as well as has done an exceptional job of providing readings that are easy and chunkable for students to digest, and provides connection questions that are some of the best at connecting the history to the world that the students see around them today, and goes far beyond just memorization, and provides an amazing amount of context. So if you've already used this is a great resource. I'm just going to kind of go with you go over with you how I put together everything in Facing History, and use it as you will. For some reason or other, this thinks I'm Alexis Williams. I got to modify this, but once you log into Facing History, you will need to actually create an account. The accounts are free, and when you set it up, you're going to look for the book Holocaust and Human Behavior. If you have a copy, know this: it is a daunting text. It is huge. There's no way you will get through it even in a semester, and you don't really need to. It's all in how you use it and how you present the material. I'm going to be speaking to you from my perspective, and hopefully you will take whatever I provide you and make it your own, and make it benefit you and your students. There's no one right way or one right tool to use, and the district and the state are not providing any text or resources. And I think some of the best lessons are cobbled together from a myriad of resources. But this is one that I'll show you why I like it the most. So once you find the book, the online version of Holocaust and Human Behavior, you'll scroll down and you'll see the information, language, subject, etc. And it'll tell you what the collection, scope and sequence set up as far as how it's set up in general for studying the Holocaust. But and most of you should be familiar with this as how you teach emotionally challenging content. They do give you good ideas on things you can consider when talking about certain topics, and how to foster a reflective classroom community. If you're teaching the Holocaust, I'm not going to make assumptions that everyone does it, but hopefully you are allowing students to reflect, and you're giving them time to process, and not just making this about memorizing vocabulary for a CFE. When you get here, you can look at the resources by chapters. Now, I'm going to kind of scroll through this, but it starts at the very beginning. And if you've taught a sociology course, the first two sections are very much sociologically oriented: the individual and society, we and they. I use these for the first couple of days, and I don't use them in their totality. So these chapters are pretty big. When you click on them to go through, you'll see that there are sections within the chapter, and I'm going to scroll down quickly to go through the reading of The Bear That Wasn't. This is a great piece on identity, the danger of a single story. If you're teaching sociology, I hope that you use the danger of a single story and the TED Talk that Chiminata actually puts together, and it's an amazing piece. Names and identity, finding one's voice. Can't do this one, and you can go through some of the basics. Because of the rules and restrictions that are placed within our state, there are some concepts that you're going to need to avoid. So use this judiciously. Now we'll go back here past individual society, and right here, World War, choices and consequences. This really starts at World War I and the divisions between the German people and countries like France, as well as how they were treating Jews. There are great sections within even here to start your sections. Let's give you an example, and I'll show you why I like this so much. So here are the sections within World War I. 1914, War or Peace. A last-ditch effort to prevent a war. the brutalities, the brutal realities of World War One. Now, this is where you might say, how can I cover all of this? You can't. You cannot cover all of this. There's no reason to. There's no reason to cover all this. You need to be judicious and pick the things that you think will be most impactful for your students. I did not pick all of these, but one thing I loved, here we're going to go to the readings. The readings are brief. It tells you in the beginning of the reading what you're going to read about. It's about a writer, Stefan Zweig, who describes an encounter with hate propaganda as a French movie 3 months before the start of World War One. To kind of show you that this existed before Hitler and the Nazis. Some of the hate that was perpetrated throughout the groups, because there is a distinct hatred between France and Germany that needs to be covered, because it is one of the instigators of looking at the Treaty of Versailles and its impact on Germany, and has a direct tie to the rise of the Nazis. So the readings are brief. If you scroll down here, this is the reading, and what they do is within the readings they embed first-person narratives, primary source documents. Sometimes they put in testimonies, and then at the end, after the students get their reading, there are these connection questions. I would typically pick one or two. I wouldn't actually use them all, because some of them refer to chapters that you may or may not have had the students read. But here's one. Propaganda can be defined as the use of information and media to influence public opinion. How would you define hate propaganda? How did Zweig see its impact in the theater? This is a great question. It not only applies to then, it applies to now. How do you think crowds can reinforce and escalate strong reactions? You notice the questions are subjective. They're reflection questions. They're connection questions. I would always tell my students, there's not necessarily a wrong answer here. I want you to, from the reading, what are your thoughts on this? I think it gives students an opportunity to have discussion and facilitates sometimes good discussion that might even take up the classroom period. I think it's well worth utilizing if you get a chance. Now, you can do one of two things. You can share this to your Google Classroom. If you're using Canvas, can't do that. What I would do is print it out as a PDF, and I would attach the PDF inside of my Canvas course, and then assign it as something, maybe a bell ringer quiz, and then I would use the connection question in a quiz format so I could track each student's entry to make sure they submitted their answers. And again, they can do this in either the night before, they can do it in 10 minutes prior to my presentation, but it can really help facilitate some great conversations or help you in your setting up of some of your PowerPoints. So, going back, I'm going to do it on the previous, even exploring the readings. Let's see, this is inside the chapter. We're going to go back to, I'm going to actually head back one more. And if you scroll down, this covers the Holocaust in its entirety. The war for race and space, the Holocaust as itself, judgment and justice, legacy and memory, how we participate. Oh, and here we go. Here are the sections. These are the collections of Spanish translations from Holocaust and Human Behavior. And then even a collection of resources. And there are lessons as well within these resources, under additional resources. Now, as we scroll through here and you look to the lessons, there are some great activities. Now, again, some of these down here, what we're looking at, these are things that would apply more to sociology. But here in the we and they, understanding our universal obligation, this is a concept that is essential. Why do we get involved? Why do we not? Videos on genetics, eugenics, and ethics, the roots of anti-Judaism, and these are just videos. Now, here are the lessons. Crimes against humanity, analyzing the effects of World War I, propaganda during World War I. And some of these are videos, some of these are actual full lessons, and it will say it up here, whether it's a chapter or right here, whether it's a lesson. If you want students to understand how the Nazi Party rose to power, Choices is an amazing activity to do to give students scenarios. I'm going to click on this to show you. They have downloads, etc. You can have PDFs against the question, your learning objective, what's included, and within the read aloud, and then even printables. There are biographies that students read, and basically the students get to understand why people would find the Nazi Party so attractive, especially based off of what their experiences were. And I hope you can see the importance of that, especially when you talk about how the Nazis came to power in such a short period of time, looking between World War I and World War II. It's important to understand how they really had such a strong foothold based off of what people in Germany had been experiencing. Voting choices, and then a discussion. These are all great opportunities, and these are all throughout the Holocaust and Human Behavior books, lesson plans, etc. And they are really amazing because they provide some great opportunities for students at any level to analyze text, to analyze primary source documents, and to analyze testimonies, as well as first-person perspectives. That's really it. So hopefully I'm not making this too long. I already spent 11 minutes of my time on this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself at the Holocaust Center, SPOYNOR at holocaustedu.org. You can also look at our website and reach out to our resource teacher, Alex O'Neill. We appreciate all the collaboration that our wonderful teachers do with the Holocaust Center. If you have any questions, again, reach out to us. The lessons are yours. You need to make them your own and fit them to the needs of your students and what you're trying to do. If you have any suggestions or recommendations, feel free to reach out. But another way that I recommend this to teachers is to understand that you can use these in tandem with other resources like Echoes and Reflections, the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum's encyclopedia. But I think these readings are nice and concise, and you can cherry pick the ones in order that help flesh out your lessons and your presentations. All right, thanks so much. Have a great day, and I appreciate all that you do.